Hi thinkers, welcome to the JavaScript playlist. In this tutorial, we're going to cover everything about arrays. We will cover what are the built-in functions that the JavaScript basically provides in arrays. So let's get started. So basically, arrays are used to store collection of data. Let's say we have some numbers and we have some strings and we want to store them under a same name. We can actually use an array, and arrays in JavaScript has some built-in functions which we can directly use, and we will be able to just use them and perform various operations which we will discuss in this tutorial. So let's get started. The first thing is, let's see how to create an array. First of all, we will use a var keyword, then we will write the name of the array. So let's create an array with the name grocery items. Basically, this array will store all the grocery items like milk and some oranges and something like that, right? So I will use these square brackets which you can see here. Now these square brackets are used to represent that this grocery items is an array, right? Now, if you do not write any items, if you do not insert anything within these square brackets, this will be an empty array. So if I will try to print the value, this array, print the value of this array, which is grocery items, you'll be able to see in the output it is basically an empty array with length 0. Let me just zoom in so you can now see properly that length of this array is 0. So now let's add some grocery items in this array. Let's add milk and some oranges, and we can add some multiple data types also. For example, we can also add some integers here like 23, 45. So these are the integers. So now you can see we have this array milk, oranges, 23 and 45. So the length of the array is 4 here. One interesting thing about arrays is that you can access each of the element using the index positions here. You can see 0, 1, 2, 3. These are the index positions. So if you want to access any particular element, let's say I want to access oranges, I can actually access it using this index position. So let's try to do this. So here, instead of writing grocery items, I will use a square bracket in front of grocery items, and I will press 1 here. So if I will save this, you can see it will return oranges. So it means that at the index position 1, we have oranges as the items. So that's a really interesting thing. And you can see the indexing starts from 0. So if milk will have 0th index position, which you can see. Now it will display milk. Now in this manner we can add some more items. One interesting thing is we can also add an array inside of an array. So you can see this grocery items in an array, and let's add one more array, and for that I will use another square brackets like this, and let's add 5 comma, let's add mangoes in this array, right? So now you can see that this indeed is an array. Let me display the whole array here. So now you can see we have 0. At the 0th position we have milk, then oranges, 23, 45, and at the 4th position you can see it is showing me another array of length 2, which has 2 elements, 5 and mangoes. So let's say I want to access mangoes in this array grocery item. So how can we do that? Now you can see that this is actually at the index position 4. So I'm going to write here 4. Now you can see that inside this 4th position we have 2 more elements, and at the 1st position we have mangoes. So what we will do is we will again create a square bracket, and I will write here 1. So if I will save this, you can see it will show mangoes, right? So in this way we can create an array inside an array, which is mostly called as a multi-dimensional array, right? So this is a multi-dimensional array. Now, if I try to, this is basically how we create simple arrays, which we have seen now how to create simple arrays and access elements. Now in JavaScript, as I've already said, that we have some inbuilt functions which we can simply use and perform various interesting operations in this given array. Now we're going to take a look at these operations, and basically these operations are done using some inbuilt functions, right? So let's see what are these inbuilt functions. So to access the inbuilt functions, what we can do is you can just write grocery items and just click dot operator. When you will just click this dot uh, operator, you will be able to see it will show you some methods in this suggestions box, right? So these are all the functions that are actually that we can actually use inside of an array to perform various things with this array. So let's start with the first one, which is the concat. So if I will click on the concat, now let's say I want to know what this function does, and I will just press the circular brackets, which is basically how we create functions. You can see that it will show you a simple documentation that it will add some items to the end of the array, right? So we have this array grocery items, and it will add some elements to the end of this array. All right, so let's add some elements to the end of the array. Let's add 23 at the end of this array. So now I will hit save. Now I will just comment this line here, and now here I will display the console.log grocery items, right? So if I will click save, you will be able to see that it will show 23 in the 5th position, and you can see it is not showing 23 at the end of the array, and the reason is that we have not assigned it. We will have to make some assignment also. So we will have to write it something like this. So grocery items equals to grocery items dot concat 23. So what it will do is it will simply make an assignment, and it will add 23 at the last position of this array. So you can see that now the length of the array is 6 instead of 5, and at the end of this array we have this element 23. So this is how we can add make some concatenations. Now what I'm going to do is, let's take a look at some more functions, some very useful functions. So here you can see there is a function index of. What this function does is it finds the element at a particular it will find the index position of any particular item. For example, let's say I want to find out at what position inside my array is the oranges item. So what I can do is I can use this index of function, and here I will write oranges, and here I will use console.log, which will basically display the result here. So now you can see it is showing me 1 in the output. So it means that the orange is at the first position. So this is the use of index of function, right? So if you want to find out the index of, we can use this index of function. There are some few more inbuilt functions that we are going to discuss in this tutorial. So let's talk about this reverse function now. What this reverse function does is it simply reverses the array. So milk, oranges 23 and 45, and this is the original array. After reversing the array, the last element will go to the first, and it basically reverses the elements of this array. So what I'm going to do here is simply I'm going to write console.log, and here I'm going to close it. So now you can see The first position was milk, but now it's 23 because we have also concatenated 23 at the end of this array. And you can see it has done the reverse of this original array. This was our original array and this is the reverse of this array, right? So this is how we can do some reversal in the array. Arrays are very useful and we use them in a lot of data structures also, like stacks and queues. For that we have different functions like inbuilt functions like push and pop, which basically you can see from here. We have this shift function and which basically let's see what it does. It removes the first element from an array and returns it, right? So what essentially it does is it will remove the first element. You can see the first element is milk. It will just remove this element and it will display it in the console. But since we have reversed the array, after reversal the element is 23 as the first element, so it will return 23. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to write console.log, and again I'm going to do something like this, right? So now in the output you can see it is displaying 23. So in this way we can it is basically shifting the elements to the left position, right? So this is basically shifting the elements which we perform inside of Q data structure. Now it's advanced, so I'm not going to talk about it here. Then we have, now let's say I want to delete some element from this array, right? I want to delete some element. Let's say I want to delete oranges from my grocery items arrays, right? So I can use the delete keyword. It is an inbuilt keyword. I can use it. Then I will write grocery items and I will specify the index position of the item that I want to remove, right? So if I want to remove oranges, you can see it is at the third position, right? So I will have to specify 3 here. And now if I will again try to print the value of my grocery items, you will be able to see that it will basically, here you can see it has removed the oranges from our list, right? Which you can see here, there is no oranges in this array. So this is how we can delete some element from our arrays, right? Let's see if there are some more useful functions inside of here. You can see this is Unshift function. This function will simply insert the element at the starting of the array, right? So if we want to add some element at the starting of the array, we can use the unshift. So now let's discuss one more important thing, which is if we want to find out the length of the array, we can use the console.log, and here we can actually use the dot length. And remember that length is not a function, it is, you can see we will use dot length, which returns the length of the array. So if I will hit I will save this, you can see in the output it is showing me that 5 is the length of array. So in this manner we can perform all these operations inside of array, which are very useful. In the next tutorial, we will study about functions inside of JavaScript, which are very useful because it brings some functional programming inside of JavaScript. And this code, this whole code is already available inside of the Android application, which you can download, and the link is in the description. It is available for free. And basically, if you have liked the video, make sure to subscribe our channel. So thanks for watching.